Assalamu alaikum. Now I'm going to teach you the vertebral column. I know you have read it in your first year, but it's also important to know about the concept of vertebral column to understand the bony pelvis, lesser true pelvis, and all the lumbar vertebrae, sacrum, and coccyx. So, spine is formed by the different vertebrae, which are cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and sacral and coccyx. These vertebrae altogether are total 33 bones, which provide body support and they protect the spinal cord from the injury. Spinal cord passes through the foramens of all these vertebrae. There are total 7 cervical, there are total 12 thoracic vertebrae and 5 lumbar vertebrae, while 5 fused sacral vertebrae and 4 coccyx vertebrae. Sacral and coccyx vertebrae are the fused vertebrae, while the other are joined by the intervertebral discs. So, you can see here the cervical vertebrae are present in the cervical region from C1 to C7. After the C7, thoracic vertebrae start from T1 to T12, and after the thorax region, the abdominal region comes and L1 region starts. So L1 to L5 forms the lumbar vertebrae, and then S1 to S5 have the sacral vertebrae forming the sacrum, and then we have the tip, which is the hip region, and that is coccyx, and this is formed by the 4 fused vertebrae. First we have the cervical vertebrae. Cervical vertebrae are total in 7 in number. The first 2 cervical vertebrae are different from the other 5 vertebrae. These vertebrae support the head. Mainly the first 2 provides the flexion and extension of the neck. So cervical vertebrae are supporting the head, and there is C1 and C2 are specialized vertebrae. They allow the greatest range of the motion of all the vertebrae. C1 is also known as the atlas vertebra, which is ring shaped and attached directly to the skull. C1 allows to nod the head, as I told you that it provides rotation for the neck, and C2 is called as axis. So atlas and axis works together for the greatest range of the motion for neck. Then we have the thoracic vertebrae, which hold the rib cage and protect the hearts and the lungs. These thoracic vertebrae give attachments to the ribs, and they have the costal facets which are giving attachments to the ribs and forming the thoracic cage altogether. Then these are the sacral vertebrae, which are fused together and forming the sacrum bone. These are the lumbar vertebrae present. Lumbar vertebrae bear the weight of the upper body and are larger to support the stress, especially when we lift something heavy, as their bodies are more large and transverse processes are thick. Then these are the sacral vertebrae that connect the spine to the hip bones, and vertebrae are all together fused. And it works together with the hip bone and the coccyx, and they form the pelvic girdle. So sacrum and coccyx are the important parts to form the pelvic girdle, which stabilizes the hip joint and providing stabilization to the body for the movements, right? Then this is the coccyx. Coccyx is formed by the 4 fused bones and provides attachment points for the ligaments and muscles of the pelvic floor. When we will study the pelvic floor, you will see the importance of the coccyx. Then if we talk about the structure of the vertebrae, of all the vertebrae, all vertebrae have this foramen from where the spinal cord passes, and then we have the body of the vertebra. We have the vertebral arch. Vertebral arch further contains the lamina and the pedicles and the spine, and then we have these on the lateral sides transverse processes. These are the laminas and these are the pedicles, and in between there is foramen. Then we have the 2 facets, superior and inferior articular facets in the vertebrae, which allows for the movements across the vertebrae for the body. These all vertebrae are connected with each other through these intervertebral discs, which are present in all vertebrae except the C1 and C2, which are known as atlas and axis. These are not present there. These intervertebral discs have the composition by the annulus and the nucleus. Annulus is made up of the lamina of the fibrocartilages. This fibrocartilages provides support to these intervertebral discs, and then we have the nucleus of the intervertebral disc. This nucleus of the intervertebral disc contains the proteoglycans. Proteoglycans are the large molecules with sugar subunits that are hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means they can absorb the water, so nucleus swells with water unless contrained. So the nature has made this nucleus hydrophilic. When we sleep in the night, this nucleus absorbs all the water and this nucleus swells up. And when we wake up in the morning and we started walking, the swelled up nucleus provides range of motion to the vertebrae and it bears the weight. So the rest is bed rest is important, or we have to sleep at the night to give time to the nucleus to become hydrophilic, to absorb the water and providing cushion to the body. Then we have different ligaments in all of these vertebrae which are common. So in between the transverse processes, all the transverse processes are interlinked with each other through the intertransverse ligaments. Then after the intertransverse ligament, we have a knuckle ligament which is present at the level of the 7th vertebra. Then we have ligaments which are connecting the spines of all the vertebrae, which are interspinous and supraspinous ligament. Interspinous ligament are the thin membranes which are present at the root of the spinous processes and connecting the roots of all spinous processes, all the spines. And then we have supraspinous ligament, which is a thick fibro band present, and it is made, it is a fibrous band, and it is present at the apices of all the spines and connecting the apices of all the spines. So intertransverse, interspinous and supraspinous ligament are the commonest ligaments which are present in all vertebrae. Then we have the anterior longitudinal and posterior longitudinal ligaments which arises from the bodies of the vertebrae. Then again you can see interspinous and interspinous and supraspinous and intertransverse ligament. Then comes the spinal cord. Spinal cord is floating in the cerebrospinal fluid in the brain within the dural tube which is inside the vertebral arch, and in the vertebral column it passes through the vertebral foramens, and those vertebrae protect the spinal cord from the injury. The spinal cord is 18 inches long and it runs from the brainstem to first or second lumbar vertebra within the spinal canal. So remember, at the level of L1 and L2 the spinal cord terminates. At that L1 and L2 level is known as the quona medullaris level, where the spinal cord ends, and then the spinal cord gives this bundle of the tree-shaped branches that is known as the cauda equiona. Spinal cord total gives the 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Spinal cord gives ventral branches and also give the dorsal branches. Though these spinal nerves have dorsal and ventral roots, all the ventral roots of the spinal cord, they form the plexus, while dorsal roots supply to the different regions. That's it for the vertebral column. Thank you so much. I hope you understood it.